I'm DJ Barai,
I am DJ Rugrat.
and today our topic on the podcast is how you can get into. Oh my god.
Right, let's go again.
How you can get in? No, how
how to get into.
I'm DJ Barai,
I'm DJ Rugrat.
and today our topic on the podcast is how. Oh my god, what is wrong?
We
with
just had this conversation. This is like the 10th
me? What is wrong with me?
We've done, and it's just about how we kind of got into DJing, or how you can get into DJing. More importantly, I think yeah. All right, let's do that again.
I'm DJ Barai.
I'm DJ Rugrat.
And today our podcast is on how to get into DJing. Cool.
That's it. That's right. I think it only took a few takes to get to this part, so we're moving past the take. How have you been, man? How have you been?
Yeah, I've been good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm keeping busy, man. How was your weekend?
I went to go see like artists and stuff like that. I went to go see Dave.
Yeah.
A few days ago. 2 days ago. Sick performance. Honestly, he's an incredible artist. So talented. He brought out so many artists. He brought out who? AJ Tracy.
Yeah.
He brought out Fredo. He brought out Getz. He brought out Stormzy.
Where was this?
O2. Same night as AP Dylan.
Okay, cool.
So obviously Shrey was in AP Dylan. So I was texting him like, yo, where are you? Like, do you want to meet up? And he's like, I'm not even there yet, bro. Like, I'm on my way. So I'm like, you're headlining in like 20 minutes, bro. What's going on? But no, it's good. Like, it's a busy weekend. What about you? What have you been up to?
You know what? I've had wedding fairs. I have been on the phones. I've been dealing with the baby.
Oh yeah, how's the kid?
Yeah, she's good, man. She's keeping well. She's keeping me busy, man. It's been interesting, man. I think the last few months, it's the amount of inquiries coming in has been phenomenal.
Yes.
Which is great. And on the back end of obviously COVID being a very quiet period in time, to kind of going literally 0 to 100, it kind of feels like it's been a non-stop gap.
Especially now, I feel like people have kind of realized, okay, cool, the COVID thing is calming down a little
Yeah.
bit. It's still serious, but at the same time, it's calming down, and people are getting more comfortable with it, so they're having their event. Especially that time when Boris announced there was no more restrictions. Like the wedding scene went crazy there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of gone non-stop since then. Because even like now,
busy.
A lot of the weekends are kind of, I'll say booked up, but there's so many clients getting in touch for weddings midweek. Like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
It's different because you're used to those Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays being club nights for you and stuff like that. And even like something else. So
actually, I was in the club as well this weekend. I was in Juro and Camden, and it's so weird because actually, as you know, I've been in the club scene for a very long time.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I've been in the club after a whole period of just being in weddings.
Very different.
So very different.
Yeah.
I finished at like 2 a.m.
Wow.
I got home really late, and it was fun, man. It was really good fun.
I feel like you missed the wedding scene though. I mean, not wedding scene, club scene.
The club scene. I would say, yeah. I saw a lot of my friends that come out. So there was a lot of people out that used to party with me when I was younger. All the way kind of for years, man. Because it was DJ 5-Star's birthday party, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Everyone I grew up with, they were kind of all there. So it was good to see everyone, but I also learned quite fast that it's too difficult to have a conversation in a nightclub.
Of course.
Like, it's too hard.
It's more party than
No, but when you haven't seen someone for such a long time, when you see someone in a wedding, you can talk to them, you can shake their hand, you can have a general conversation. But in a nightclub, you're just nodding your head and pretending like you can hear them.
I know what you're saying, but you really don't.
Exactly.
I'm talking like I've been in a nightclub, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I know. Actually, that's imagine that, man. Imagine that. So what? You're 17 years old now. Yeah. How do you feel? You're nearly 18.
I'm very eager to get into a club. Like, it's annoying because seeing all like you talented DJs in clubs week in, week out, or whenever.
Yeah, but you can see it technically on social media these days. You can see loads of things happening.
I can,
live
but it's
recording,
not
virtual reality.
It's not the same. That own experience to be able to say, cool, I've performed in a club is not the same. Like, it's like being able to say, cool, I performed in a festival or I performed in like an arena or something like that.
You have performed.
I have.
You technically have performed probably a lot more than many other DJs, to be fair, at your age already.
Yeah. I mean, I did Manchester Arena, and I was DJing for an upcoming artist called Mooney. Shut down Manchester Arena.
How many people there? I saw the videos.
So it was around 4,000. It was for a company called Shutdown. And Digger D was headlining. OFB came through. Hardy Caprio came through. Jay Fado came through. Silky, some like northern artists, like so many big artists came through, and we were performing on stage with them. We got to go back, experience all of it as like artists, and it was just incredible. For it being first time as well, that's the biggest event I've done. I was like,
you're gonna have higher expectations after that. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
Definitely.
it's usually the opposite spectrum.
Definitely.
With DJs that start DJing, they end up playing that all of the kind of the booking they don't necessarily want to be at, progress, and then get there. But to get there now is
I'm just like,
amazing.
wow. I'm like, I want to do that week in, week out. If that's like the same energy I'm getting from people now at like festivals that don't really know me, imagine when I build my name and it's like I'm more in clubs or even soon come like host my own events. So it's like,
Yeah. No, I agree. I think we've had numerous conversations about doing events. Etc.
yeah, definitely.
And I think once you're 18, I guess for any DJ that's trying to build their name up, like
Straight away.
being in the club scene is vital.
Yeah.
Firstly, and then putting on events, I think is also is vital, man. I think you know what, just because it's the first time you're obviously on the podcast.
Yeah.
I think it's very important that the audience listening kind of know your background, know your story, and know a little bit more about you and how you got into it all.
Okay, so basically, obviously, I started off DJing around the age of 13. Funny enough, I actually started with DJ Rugrat. So I took one of his courses alongside DJ Shrey. And I had a little session with them, or with DJ Rugrat was actually my teacher. And had a little session with him for the first time. One lesson went by, and I was like, cool, let me try it again. Second one came by. I was like, okay, this is definitely something I want to be doing. So it was like really interesting, and I just fell in love with it. I was like, week in, week out, I want to be doing this. So,
What about like before you were doing lessons and stuff, like were you into music as much then?
I feel like I was more focused on school because having Asian parents and stuff like that was very much like, okay, cool, you're going to go to school, get a good job and stuff like that. So it's like typical. But
Being a DJ is a good job.
this is an amazing job. It's an amazing job, but it's very non-academic at the same time. It's not
true.
one of those typical Asian parent paths, you know, like,
You got
you're going to become a
doctors,
doctor.
solicitors, lawyers.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
DJs are coming up now, I think.
Yeah, soon, hopefully.
2022 is out. Yeah.
But no, it was very, very much like when I was always listening to music about the house, like not even just listening to it, like feeling my own way on like, okay, cool, if I had this track and this track, like what would it sound if it was mixed together? Something stupid like that. But at the same time, my parents kind of saw that and they were like, okay, cool, why don't you just try out doing a DJ lesson or something like that? Yeah, I just fell in love with it. And obviously I was at school at the same time. I was a student, doing my GCSEs, like doing all of that. And wow.
It's great. You know what? At 13 years old, to find the time, the passion, when there's so many other distractions, I'd say.
Oh, of course.
Like to find something to think in your mind that this is where I want to be long term is kind of unheard of.
Yeah, because you don't find that in especially many people growing up, like being at such a young age, 13, like, what do you want to do in the future? Oh, I don't know yet. I don't really know. Being able to be like, okay, cool, I have my whole life planned out. Like, I want to become a DJ. I want to also get into music production. I want to get into the management, the A&Ring. I want to get into events management. Like, I kind of know what I want to do, but it's just making that happen now. Like, I'm around people that it's possible, so I'm just going to work on it.
No, I think it's good. You know what? Like I said, I think it's very rare to find people, like when you talk to people, that it's not necessarily a bad thing that people don't know what they want to do at certain ages, because naturally, you know, there's so many things that are like opportunities that just come in different paths. But I think in a similar way to you is when I was 13, when I was DJing, I fell in love with mixing and music. And I knew I wanted to be a DJ, but I also knew I have to keep my family happy. So I need to also try my best to stay academically in place, go to uni, study, and kind of see where that goes. And in a way, I'm grateful I did do that, because that kind of were the skills that helped develop and move me into my next direction, right?
Yeah.
But
it's different. It's different because obviously, like you were saying now, you have to keep your parents happy. With me, it was more like, cool, I'm telling my parents, I'm not happy in school. Like, I'm not really, don't want to be here. Do you get me? So it's more me telling them straight up, like, cool, I'm going to get into the music scene. You're either going to support it or you're going to be unhappy. Like, luckily they supported it and they were very happy for me too. They were like, they see my passion. They see what I wanted to do. They see how at this age I was making money at the same time. They were like, what? Like, what's going on? Okay, cool, the money side's there. So they were like, okay, cool.
your parents are your biggest supporters. Like, literally,
definitely.
I would
Definitely.
say, like, to have that support is phenomenal, man. And
Especially from just parents. Because being able to be like to my dad, okay, cool, look, I need a little bit of an investment here. Can you help me buy my first pair of decks? Can you help me buy my first pair of speakers? Like, from that, it kind of took off. And I was like, okay, cool, like, you know, this is actually going quite well. My dad's seen, okay, cool, this is going quite well. He's getting quite a few bookings. getting every week. Like, especially being so young, you're like, okay, like who's going to be booking a 13-year-old, 14-year-old at the time? You didn't really expect many bookings, but it started picking up, and I was like, wow. So it's really good for me.
It's true. I mean, like I said, when you've played at many bookings, private parties, New Year's Eve, birthday parties. Like I think once the club scene hits, it's going to be a whole different kind of atmosphere, because that's probably, you've got love for music now, right?
Oh, of course.
I think your level of love will increase when you're in clubs, because
definitely.
you see people's reactions.
Because put it this way, right now I'm working in college. I'm working with so many talented artists. Like, I'm working with artists that are releasing songs that I didn't expect the music wave to go, but it's going that way. You're hearing right now some of the biggest names in the scene that are doing sampled music, and you're seeing artists, like, how they make that music, and seeing it from behind closed doors, like, not being like, how do I put it, being like in studio with them, watching them make the music. The love for music just goes right up. You're just like, wow. And then being able to be able, in 2 years' time, next 1 year's time, being able to perform that in a club with your mates there performing, would be a great experience. So hopefully soon.
I know, I'm excited, man. I'm excited for the whole journey, because studying music, being a DJ now, this is all progression in the right direction.
Definitely.
And I feel like, when you're 18, exactly, and in the club scene, it's going to be mad. It's going to be mad.
Yeah. No.
Even in weddings, because you've come to numerous weddings with me. You've DJed at numerous weddings with Musical Movement. So it's been like...
But it's very, very hard, especially because being such a young DJ and trying to get into the wedding scene as well, like, it's very hard, because a lot of people are they want the best DJ. You get me? Like, obviously, everyone knows who you are, the famous DJ Rugrat. So it's very much, okay, I want to get DJ Rugrat as my booking. I want to get everything like that. So it's hard for an upcoming DJ to get booked for a wedding. But also,
right now it is, but in the future,
in the future, that's the thing. When I start building up my name, start getting out there.
Because what happened, that's what I'm saying, the same thing with me. Everyone, when I was 18 years old, when I was in the club scene, when I was DJing there, those are the people, as they got older, I would say like close to 25 to 28, give or take, was the window when they all got in touch with me to say, you used to be the DJ that played in Zubar, Metro, Funky Bulldog, whichever clubs I used to play at. And people that tend to book me, for example, for weddings, they kind of want to be, the music genre is the reflection of what they grew up listening to. So naturally, when you're 18 and you're in clubs, and the people that are in them clubs listening to you, they're going to want to hear you. And that's what I'm saying. That for me, it's like, it's a no-brainer. For us, when me and Shrey put together the academy and we're putting together DJs, etc., naturally for us, we're thinking, cool, the idea would be to champion a couple of DJs on board, and help them on their journey, and to kind of see where they went. But a lot of the students we taught, they not really progressed with things, I would say. Some of them may have, but I don't think a lot of them are hungry enough, because I think having talent or having passion is one thing, but working hard towards something is another. Like, having that drive or the direction to do something like that is hard work.
I feel like starting off so young as well for myself was very much like that drive for me, was being able to be like, cool, I know what I want, I'm going to make it happen. And I feel like people that have started off young at DJing, and people that want to, take your chance whilst you're young, because it's very much, if you see what you want in the future, you can make it happen whilst you're young. I feel like if you wait too long, you're not going to make it happen. You're going to keep saying, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, but it's not going to happen. But
it's a do things now.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially
in the music scene, because it's changing every day. It's very much, someone will release a banger and it'll be like, okay, the scene's going this way, but another person's released another banger, it's going that way. So it's very, very different how the music scene is.
Where do you tend to find new music?
So I actually use DJ City, and also BPM Supreme. They're like my main two like big ways of getting music. But also, like, it's just following Spotify playlists. Like, I'll see some of the latest club bangers, like upcoming songs that I know that are banging in the charts, and I'll just be like, cool, this song is going to be a banger in the next few weeks. Like, it's going to make top charts, it's going to meet new people.
Well, I was going to say, because back in the day, there's obviously no Spotify playlist, right? So
yeah, of course.
There was record stores, and you can walk into a record store and you can see like the top 10 in record, like there.
It must have been so much effort going in. I'm like, wow.
It was a lot of effort, but it was a lot of fun. It was completely different. Like, I would literally, so you walk in, you pick up all of the records that you potentially want to listen to, right? Then you go to a counter that's got a turntable.
And you got to play it.
Yeah? And then you play it, literally. You put the headphones on and you play the song. And then you wait for the song to finish and decide whether you're going to buy it or not. So you'll have like two piles. I'll grab about 30 records, listen to them all, pick maybe two or three that I think, yeah, these are really good records. I'm going to buy them, and then see how much I could afford. And them days, it's like £9 sometimes for a white label, £7 for a record.
What?
And then the chart songs, like, they were about £3 or £4.
How many records did you roughly have, like, when you were growing up?
When I grew up, I used to get paid £3 an hour to wash cars, right? So I used to make about, I would say, £30 a day. At the end of each week, I would be able to afford, give or take, between 3 to 5 records, depending on how much it would be. But my friends would also buy records for me. So a lot of my mates were MCs and things like that.
Okay,
My mum used to support the cause as well, so she'd always be like, look, if you want to buy something, or if you... Like, the way it was an urgency thing.
Yeah.
Because if you go to a record store and they've got 7 records there, or 3 records there or something, and you walk out, by the time you get home, trying to persuade your mum to give you some money and get back, there's a possibility those records are gone.
Yeah.
Right? And when they're gone, they're gone. With white labels, they're kind of... Or some of the records are pressed in a certain amount of them, they're kind of limited to some capacity. Now it's like a case of, I can go on iTunes and buy every single genre and have everything, but I think those days were really, it's obviously diverted a lot from now, but now it's so much easier, and naturally you progress in the direction of new technology. You have to embrace it. Now I can go to a Spotify playlist and type in, if I'm looking for dancehall, for example, dancehall, look at what kind of playlist there, see what those artists are, then go to something like DJ City,
Download the song
or iTunes, because sometimes I also just buy songs directly from iTunes, but I get sent so much too, man.
Do you feel like on DJ City you have obviously the DJ intros and stuff like that? Do you feel like that helps you as a DJ, or do you feel like
it does?
Just having the normal actual song just...
Sometimes it's a bit of both. Like, I like to have an intro version, sometimes the clean version, dirty version, and the normal version, depending on how the intro starts. Sometimes it just it depends on the song. But sometimes we're limited because, certain songs you can't just get the DJ intro for.
Of course.
And I'm happy with that. I think for me, sometimes it's a case, I still treat things as a kind of case of urgency as such. If I'm looking through one of my Bride or Groom's playlists and they've listed specific songs and I don't have them specific songs, then I know that's the case. Cool, I'm just going to buy those songs. Make sure I have them on my catalogue as such, and whether it comes to playing it or not, it's always a different thing, man.
But also, like, as a DJ, obviously you're saying in the wedding scene, like, obviously your bride and groom giving you playlists. Like, how do you feel about if you weren't too happy about the playlist they're giving you? Like, how do you feel about that? Because if you, I know that is like, that's some people will say to me, "Oh, I want you to play this," and cool, you have the capability of playing it, but it's just very much like not your favorite to play. So how do you feel that affects you?
I think sometimes it's important to kind of be also realistic with the playlist. If I get certain playlists and I look at it and I think, okay, cool, I think this is going to work. Especially if it's a Gujarati wedding, for example, you can kind of know what's going to work and what's not going to work.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, you naturally would want everyone to be happy with that. So I ask bride and groom to send me playlists, and a lot of the time, it's kind of, it's not a particular song I would play.
Okay,
but I would try it. It's if someone booked me for their wedding and they said these are the songs, I want you to try to incorporate within the mix. Most clients will kind of say, but use your judgment on it. It's not forced. You don't have to play it.
Yeah, I feel like there's some people that are very much like, cool, this is what we like, but if you don't feel like the crowd's gonna like it, then fair enough. But
yeah, very rarely do I get a playlist which I'm not very happy with. The majority of the time I was like, okay, cool, this is good. I can work with it, and I kind of encourage people to send less opposed to more. When people send like 300 songs or 100 songs, it kind of can throw you off in many different directions, especially when it's just a case of they're not
a lot of effort for you to go through each song at the same time, just like listen to them and be like, especially if you don't know a few of the tracks, it's very much like, wow, is this a banger? Do you feel like,
if I don't know the track, there's a problem. If I don't know the track, I see it on my playlist, then I know there's, if I don't know it, how are you always going to know this song? So
yeah,
I think it's I think it's important to just kind of watch audiences, and I always say that to everyone. And I think even with you, when you come with me to weddings, and you've done weddings yourself, no matter what we see in front of us, it's kind of come down to experience. It's funny actually, because when you're with me and you tell me to play something like, oh yeah, play this song, it's gonna bang, and I'll be like, nah, I don't think it's gonna work, but you try it and you make it work. Yeah. Sometimes it's about the transition of how you can also fuse it together.
Certain crowds, like from experience, like obviously you've had so much experience with different crowds and stuff like that. Like you've been DJing for such a long time, but like as a youngster, I'll see it as more of a cool. I've DJed multiple different crowds, like for festivals and stuff like that, like shows, and the crowd liked it there, so like, why not try it here? And I feel like you're done it on the wedding scene, so you're like, okay, cool, do you want to take that risk? Like, it's a very I feel like in the music scene, you got to take that risk.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is the difference. I think with weddings and with clubs, right? Because you can always champion new music in the nightclub, and it's never a case where it's gonna go against you, or people are gonna stop dancing and be like, "Oh, wait a minute, what's this?" Because in nightclubs, you can kind of do what you do.
Exactly.
And
you can
you
also try new stuff and very much you can play that not unreleased. I mean, you can play that upcoming artist songs as well, because people more waved in a nightclub, they're more like, oh, okay, cool, we're drunk, let's have a good night. Like, they hear a beat song, they're just gonna vibe to that. I feel like more in a wedding, it's more you have to know the song to vibe. Like, it's not even about how drunk you get; it's more they want to be singing their hearts out. So
no, I agree, man.
So
actually, I was gonna also ask you is how many other DJs do you know in your circle, your age range?
My age range, wow, I barely know. Like,
what about at college? Are there any DJs in college?
I'm the only DJ in my college.
So, are there many Asians in your college?
2. Me and one other.
Literally.
Me and one other. It's different. It's very different because I'll see like all of these other artists upcoming, and I came to a college thinking it was going to be hella diverse, like very like, oh yeah, I'm going to meet some Asian DJs, I'm going to meet some Asian producers. Me and one other.
Why do you think there isn't as many Asian DJs or producers there?
I feel like it's strictly to do with the parenting. Like, it's very much like so many people. Like, I went to school in the Northwest Side when I was younger. And I was very much like, okay, cool, meeting loads of people, but looking at them now from like afar, not being as close to them, but looking at them from afar, it's very much their heads on, like, strict life. It's just having that strict parenting. Okay, cool, I'm not really allowed out, but I have to sit home and work all the time. Like, the difference is mad.
Yeah, it's interesting because
it's very different.
At my school, like when I was growing up in college, there was like literally one other DJ as well. And
But you were saying also that some of your friends were like MCs and stuff like that. Did that help you as a DJ though?
100%. It definitely helped me because it allowed me to do more. I had like a lot of people, and I was one of the only DJs. 5-Star being one of the other ones. 5-Star went to another school. He went to Cannons.
So how long have you two known each other?
I've known him since I was 13.
Oh wow,
12,
so
13.
that's sick.
So when we started, we kind of started on the same age range. We started together. Yeah. So his dad, he had Technics basically. I had Newmark decks at those days, and when we had our collection, he would buy records and he would buy specific genres, and I would buy. But we kind of cross-reference.
You guys were like obviously growing up in the same age range and stuff like that. You feel like there was so much competition between you guys.
It was never that actually. You know what? It was very rarely.
I'll see it right now. I'll see so many DJs be like, "Oh, cool, you can cover my set," blah, blah, blah. But then there's so much competition on like
now there is
who can get there first and like who can get the club placement and all of that. It's like I'm just like, wow. It's like look at it from a distance because not being able to be in a club yet. It's just you see it all and it's just like wow.
Yeah, well, it's the same when I was playing in clubs. Even being Asian in clubs was kind of I wouldn't say it was unheard of, but it wasn't very common. Now there's a lot of great Asian DJs playing in clubs, which is great to see. And I think times have kind of progressed in that way where people are multicultural in the way that they play music. Right? For me, I can play every genre. I've done Iranian wedding, Nigerian, Russian.
Of course.
So it's like it's a case of knowing. It's funny enough, come back to a playlist, right? It comes back to if a bride and groom says, "All right, cool, these are some of the songs I need to play."
I feel like
you get it.
That's the thing. Like as a DJ, like being big as well. If you want to make it, you have to be so versatile in what you do.
Yeah, 100.
And like what you can play and like what genres you can cover and like are you not even about what genres. Are you comfortable enough to mix in the tracks? Like are you able to say to a crowd, you can control the crowd with another language. You get me?
Yeah.
It's very hard. I feel like being Asian helps that a lot though.
Yeah. It's you know what? Devin done an event the other day, last week. It was an Iranian client, and the playlist that he was sent is a playlist he's not familiar with.
Of course.
But I think once you're familiar with DJing, ultimately, the whole theory behind it all, mixing music, etc., and just knowing songs and beat, you kind of pit 2 and 2 together in your own mind. Yeah. And when you play it, it's a reflection of that. And I
feel like it's very much reading the crowd as well. Yeah. Because I did a Slovakian party once.
You do a lot of Greek parties as well, right?
Oh, yeah. A lot of my family friends are Greek. But I did a Slovakian party once. And also Greek at the same time. It all links in. I don't know any of their music. I was like, what do you want me to play? Like, they sent me over a good few tracks. And it's very much like you're reading the crowd very much. Okay, cool. I don't know. You don't know the song. You don't know what they're saying in it. And it's very much, okay, cool. This is the part where they get the most hype. So if you have your mixing part whilst they're getting most hype, and when it dies out a little bit, you bring in the next track. And
so you structure it, innit?
Of course, it's very much about reading the crowd, seeing what they're doing, and yeah, if you can just match the energy with them. But
The structure, but I think, like I was saying, for you to DJ and to have the experience you've already got, imagine in the next few years. I think the beauty about it is like, I think there's many progression routes as DJs, and producing is definitely one. You know, artist management is definitely another. What kind of advice would you give someone that is, you know, perhaps in a young or similar position that wants to get involved with music? What would you kind of advise them to do?
if it's more DJing side, take that risk. Like, go ask your parents if you're able to get into it, like, if they will support you, or like even just start planning stuff out. Like production is free to start. Like anyone can start production. Like, it's about going onto YouTube, finding like samples you like, not even samples, like finding YouTube videos that you like and seeing producers like learn how to produce and stuff like that. So that's one way. But just taking that risk, like taking that jump from.
I would say networking probably is a big factor of this.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right?
Sorry,
Being part of a college that essentially is based on music, a lot of it must be meeting artists, meeting managers.
So right now I've started to low key but partly start managing artists. We've started up our own little show as well called Spit Game, and it's just taking off at this point. Like everything, we're meeting loads of new people. Like through this whole Spit Game collective, we've had like a few people coming in. Like we've had Rising Talents. I don't know if you know who that is. They've come into our college. Like in a few weeks' time, we've got ZZ Mills coming in, massive A&R, like radio presenter and everything. Like we've got attention from big like industry partners as well. So I feel like making that connection, especially whilst we're all so young, it's just incredible. And also being able to be at the same age as other artists right now and me managing them is really helpful for myself, but also them. Because let's say in a year's time, I get a club booking and I'm able to say to the club, cool, I'm bringing 3 artists with me and we're going to shut down the club. And they've already got tracks out there. Like the club owner likes their stuff. Like it just all works in hand. So
no, I think this kind of experience is definitely valuable. And I think even 100%. Things like you mentioned, YouTube, picking up on things on YouTube, you know, learning from things, wherever the opportunity comes from. And like, meeting people that are in the field is the best way to do it.
When I was coming with you guys, like to different shows, like in events, stuff like that. Even when I wasn't officially part of musical movements, like I came to 1 or 2 shows with you, and I was like, this is how it really is. That's sick. And then obviously being part of musical movements now, it's like coming to a lot more. I'm just like, wow, okay, cool. I get to meet so many new people, and obviously everyone on musical movements team is just incredible. But yeah.
It's interesting. You know what? It's the same. When I was like younger, this being able to talk to people it can be challenging itself, or to network and things like that, man. So I think I am looking forward to this whole journey, man. I think as a DJ, technically you're like phenomenal, and it's funny because I know you at your level where you're at already. You're a lot higher than DJs perhaps that have been doing this for a lot longer than you already, and it's strange. But I think it comes down to mind frame as well, persistency and kind of knowing what you want and chasing it.
Of course. I feel like at the same time, like, I've had so much help from people around me, and that's really good. I'm praising that a lot. So it's like really good that people around me want to help me and want me to help me achieve my goals. But yeah, it's just like even like last week I was at an award show, some little award show for upcoming artists and stuff like that, and I met the owner of Strawberry and Creams Festival there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Pret.
Random.
It was really funny. It was just like meeting new people and stuff like that is just crazy because we had a chat and stuff like that. And it was just being able to meet him and have a talk to him and see what as upcoming artists we could do to be able to get a headline show there one day. Do you get me? It's just crazy. But yeah, he was talking to us. It was just before they released their lineup. So he was telling me the work that he was going through. Even during the awards, he was winning an award and he was on the phone to one of the artists at the moment. Like he was like, "Wait, guys, I can't come on stage." So it was really cool.
No, I guess that's it, man. That you, what's your plans then in the coming years?
In the coming years, hopefully. I was debating about whether to go to uni. Like uni is a very 50-50 for me. I'm not being forced to by my parents. It's one of those where if I go to uni, it's practically just doing another 2 years of college. Like I'm learning music about what I'm doing right now. But I feel like the scene maybe might be to getting an apprenticeship or something like that. Work with someone
with a label.
Not even with the label. I don't know, because within my links in college, I have the chance to work with Universal, Warner Bros, someone big like that.
Yeah.
So I might take that chance and that opportunity to go work with them. Maybe even if it does come down to a label, like learn off management and stuff like that, and then hopefully maybe one time like start off like managing artists directly, like full time. But I don't know. Like, by the next year, by the time I turn 18, I want to be in clubs week in, week out. I want to be living my best life. Like hopefully soon doing shows all around the world, festivals, and yeah, that's it.
Good, man. I think I can kind of conclude this podcast with some positive vibes and some positive notes from DJ Barai, man. So congratulations on everything you've achieved so far, bro.
Thank you so much.
Look forward to the rest of the journey, man.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Peace.